Evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Seb, and you're listening to the Rewind Rental Podcast. Joining me today is Callum.
Hello there.
And Evan.
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing Robocop. Now, Callum has done some research for us, and he's found interesting tidbits like the budget and other stuff. I'm not too sure. Callum, give us that.
A film came out in 1987 under Orion Pictures, which then got bought by MGM in 1992.
They did Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They went broke and then got the distributing rights got bought by MGM.
Just like real Detroit.
Exactly. So it was made on a budget of 13 million, which adjusted for inflation is 28 million, and the total gross worldwide has been 53 million.
That's pretty good.
Definitely looks like it.
Definitely.
I think one thing about Robocop is it's a B movie in an A movie's shoes, pretty much. Because you've got a higher budget than normal. You've got a great director in Paul Verhoeven. You've got good stars. You've got good effects. You've got all that sort of stuff. But it's a B movie plot with a lot more to it in the script, I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I think it was amazingly written. Verhoeven did. Verhoeven didn't write it. Sorry.
Well, it was written, but wasn't it two scripts that got put together? I think.
I don't know about that, but I know that Verhoeven hated it and he threw it in the trash to begin with. But his wife convinced him to pick it up after looking at reading him all the satire and stuff because he didn't notice that at first.
Well, I'll have to say it's definitely. I think the wife definitely.
Made the right choice.
Probably did something good. Yeah, made a very good choice.
Oh, good on her, I say. She
Paul Verhoeven's
she
wife.
convinced him to make a great movie.
Yeah, fuck Verhoeven. Let's say thank you to Paul Verhoeven's wife, Mrs. Verhoeven. Let's get a fat clap.
No, but I think as well, I don't know about her involvement in Verhoeven's other movies, but I'd say Robocop is the good first of a holy trinity of Paul Verhoeven sci-fi, with Total Recall and Starship Troopers.
Oh, well, those are his other films.
Yeah, he did.
I haven't seen either of them.
They're great. They're both great. Well, we know what to do next episode.
Was Starship Troopers the one with Tim Allen and Alan Rickman, or was that someone else?
No, I don't think Tim Allen and Alan Rickman were in Starship Troopers.
No, that was the one with Ripley in it. Who played Ripley?
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, that was the one with Sigourney Weaver in it.
Okay, someone will probably tell us what that title is.
Galaxy Quest.
So I've got some notes written down about the film. I thought it was very interestingly shot.
Yeah.
Like every few shots would be very mediocre, but then it would just be like shit, and then amazing framing.
See, we commented on that last night we were watching it, but
Yep.
I looked into that afterwards because I thought it was interesting. You made a good point with that. I don't know about any of the rest of the film, but I noticed specifically in the shootout scene in the factory, the cocaine factory.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of issues in that, and they had to cut a lot of it because the guns kept malfunctioning. So they had to do a lot of quick cuts with that. I think that's part of the reason there. Another issue I read that they found was that the suit was too reflective, so a lot of the shots ended up being unusable. So I feel like a lot of it,
key lights and all that.
yeah, I feel like a lot of the other shots, especially the action sequences, might have been rushed or they're cut short, just so you get the good looking bits. And I feel like that might be part of the reason.
A lot of because we all watched the director's cut, didn't we?
We did,
Yes.
yeah.
You can really tell when there's a shot that's been inserted that wasn't in the original cut because all the other shots have been remastered. But then you can see all the added shots like of Clarence holding his neck. Like you can still tell the footage is still a bit grainy, which I found quite interesting.
I didn't notice that actually because I hadn't seen the theatrical cut. I've never seen this movie before. Last night was the first watching of it. Actually, no. I remember seeing one of the Robocop films on TV. It was I think Evan was saying it was Robocop 3, because all I remember was Robocop just staring out a window with a little kid, and the little kid's just like, Robocop,
Yeah, that's
help me,"
Robocop
and-
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dreadful.
The worst one, yeah. And
Um,
on that note, actually, sorry, go on, Callum.
Before we want to get too deep into it, who wants to explain the plot of Robocop?
Very good.
I suppose I can. It's pretty straightforward if you don't. If most people would know it by now, but basically, it's set in a dystopian Detroit, in the near future, and it's about a police officer played by Peter Weller who gets obliterated by a gang, and brought back.
By Red Foreman.
Yeah, and brought back as a cyborg to fight crime. But that's pretty simple. But
that's
there's a lot
pretty
more
much
to
it,
it behind it. Yeah.
Could I just say that the guy in Clarence's crew, you know
Kurt, which one?
you know the guy that when he's like, "Do you mind if I zip this up?"
The
What-
black
Oh,
dude.
was that the guy that keeps laughing?
Yeah, that
like
I just want
Salacious
to
B.
say
Crumb from Star
that guy's
Wars?
laugh is the most annoying thing. Where did
We
he
were
find
saying-
these guys? Because
We were saying that last night.
one of them has the most annoying laugh on the planet, and then the other guy, I can't remember his name, but he turns into like that sludge monster.
The guy that gets
Oh,
melted.
the one that gets with the toxic.
Yeah,
waste.
yeah,
Yeah.
His facial hair
Yeah.
is the worst facial hair I've ever seen in the world.
It's pre Conor McGregor.
It was shocking. It was shocking.
That's probably why he gets melted.
Did you know that melting bit that was done by the director of The Thing?
Rob Bottin,
Of the Thing, I thought
the
Thing
effects
was-
artist.
Yeah.
Ah,
he did
the
he did the
effects
effects for that little bit.
I was gonna say John Carpenter.
Which is why it's
He
so
was the director.
fucking gross.
Oh,
Which
it-
is with his fucking fingers melting off.
Oh, it was, and that scream that he does. Oh,
Oh,
I
it was
think that was the sort. Watching Robocop as a kid for a lot of people, including myself, that scene was a source of childhood trauma. Apart from everything else in Robocop,
Yeah,
but
within good reason.
absolutely.
Movie,
That was
that
very
scene's hideous.
disturbing.
Every time Kurtwood Smith was on screen, I can only see him as Red Foreman from that '70s show. So like when he throws the guy out the window and is like, "Can you fly, Bobby?" All I'd think of him is going, "How would you like a foot up your ass, Eric?" He only knows that one thing.
That was great. I completely forgot about that line where it's like, "Can you fly, Bobby?"
he's got many great lines. He's one of my favorite villains.
There's just many great lines in the movie.
Like bitches leave.
Oh,
Yeah, bitches leave.
on that scene, I've got a note on that. I wrote down. All I wrote was Bobby has 5 TVs.
Yeah, he does.
Why
So
does he need
Copious amount of
5?
television
See,
screens.
that's the whole thing. You go with 80s sci-fi films. You go two ways. You either get giant screens, which predicted the future correctly, or you have like 20 normal size for 80s TVs.
Okay, speaking of TVs, what was that birthday cake TV show?
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, I was so confused.
see, I still don't actually know the context. Like, if there even is context, I don't know the joke behind it. I don't get it still. I just know that it's meant to be something that's hilarious to the characters in the movie.
It wasn't. It's
But-
not real. It's not a real show, is it?
No, Paul Verhoeven shot it himself. I think actually I read something that when Nancy Allen first came on set, he was shooting that, and she got pissed because she thought she'd signed it with an incompetent director, but he was just making this stupid show on purpose. But yeah, I don't.
So Nancy Allen is that
Officer
is that
Lewis.
That Officer Lewis. Oh, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah. She looks exactly like Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh
I can't
wow!
take it
I
back.
didn't think of that. That's
I can't not see her as what's her name from Carrie, because that's where I know her from.
From Stephen King's.
Yeah.
she's
Was she play the mother?
No, she was one of the other students. I think I can't remember who she was. I think she was the one who wasn't mean to Carrie, or was less mean to Carrie.
Ah, okay.
She had long hair in it. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
she's like, so they all have like a unisex changing room, so they're probably seeing like all the body parts of each other all the time.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
But then, as soon as she sees a guy peeing, and he goes, "Amanda, if I zip this up," she has to look. Like,
oh, that shot was
really,
weird.
really, you see
That
it
was
all the
strange.
time.
That was strange. I also found that very progressive for a 80, what was it, 87?
87, yeah.
it was very progressive. I was gonna say it's like, oh, we haven't reached that yet. We haven't reached that level.
No, it was. I thought that when she got introduced, that was pretty progressive. How she's just beating the crap out of some guy,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
she's
the
definitely
iconic
got
the iconic line of "Quit fucking around with your suspect."
Yeah, she definitely hits the rough, experienced officer cliche.
But not in a cliche way, I feel. She has...
Not in a cliche, but, you know, everything's a cliche except essentially fucking hell.
I think it, but I don't think it is a cliched movie because I think it kind of started a lot of those cliches.
Yeah, it kind of was the origin point for a lot of things we consider cliche now. So stuff that's in it that's cliche, it wasn't really when it came... Well, it wasn't at all when it came out because it kind of invented those things or became those things over time. Because it's an iconic movie,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
by far.
Classic 80. I don't know why I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know why either. But it was fun. It was fun seeing your first reactions. I'd always love to see...
It was strange.
First reactions to certain movies are my favorite things. Just showing people like certain stuff.
Like that giant robot.
The ED209.
Yeah.
Yeah, BD209. It was clearly done in stop motion. I just couldn't. I couldn't help but smile.
But it's so charming.
just hilarious.
It's so charming how they did it.
Especially when it falls down the stairs and it's like on its back. It's just kicking its legs. It's so confused.
I have a note here that
It's like a giant Roomba essentially.
I have a note that says ED209s are very shit.
Oh yeah, they're very shit. You could easily take them down.
Like you just have to get it off balance, and then it like makes some weird tiger crying noise on its back. Like,
Yeah, it does that. Yeah, that was confusing.
I don't know what's up with that. But on the note of stop motion, I realized as well, the effects for Ed 209 were done by Phil Tippett, who was dinosaur supervisor on Jurassic Park.
Oh,
there you go. Do you think he did the ad for the SUX 6000 series?
6,000 sucks.
Do you think he did the stop motion on that?
I'd imagine he would have. I don't see why they would have got a different person to do that, seeing it stop motion as well.
He definitely improved. In terms of, in comparison to this, to Jurassic Park, it's definitely a big step up.
Yeah, but Jurassic Park's like even back then was a massive movie, like way bigger than Robocop.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Jurassic Park is a feat in like what was possible to make movies.
It still is, honestly. It's still pretty impressive to this day.
It's got big points because of Goldblum as well.
Oh, of course.
Gotta love Goldblum.
But yeah, no, I think as well. Speaking of cast, but in terms of Robocop, Peter Weller, even though he's in the suit for the majority of the movie, you don't even see his face for the majority of the running time. I feel, like at the start and the end, he even if the rest of the cast was shit, he'd carry it for me.
He killed it.
Oh, yeah.
He actually killed it.
He almost killed himself too, because he lost like 3 pounds per day in sweat in that suit.
The first time they went to put on that suit, I think it took 13 hours to put it on him.
Oh, jeez.
And so, like, they wasted an entire production day just trying to get him into the suit.
They also
How much did he get paid for that?
I don't know.
I could look it up.
They also wasted an entire production day doing that one shot of him catching the keys because they kept...
Oh, yeah, because they kept bouncing off his rubber glove.
Yeah.
And it's so big and bulky. Like it's really impractical, but... It's so bulky that when he's driving, he's not wearing the Robocop
Yeah, he doesn't have the
pants.
bottom half of the suit on, yeah.
Same with when he's going downstairs. So when he's in the club, you can only see the top part of him. That's because he's not wearing
Oh, did they
pants.
film from the waist up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Same with when he's going down the stairs when the Ed 209's chasing him.
Yeah, but in that one
he
shot
fell
where he
down the
books it.
stairs. Oh yeah, that one shot. He just turns around and he goes, "Nah, I'm not doing this." He kind of waddles essentially because Peter Weller couldn't move much.
It's a pretty restrictive suit,
But
but
he-
it
I
looks
believe it.
so good. That is
Yeah.
one of the
Oh, yeah.
coolest looking suits in film history.
It's iconic.
Definitely.
Same with his gun.
Oh, the Auto
Oh yeah,
9.
his aimbot.
Yeah. I read as well, they, you know how in the boardroom, they had the Desert Eagle that they give to the guy who gets shot by a 209?
Oh,
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny. Kenny, the boardroom guy. That Desert Eagle was going to be Robocop's gun, but the suit was so fucking big that gun looks small in his hands, so they're like, fuck it, we'll make our own gun for him.
It's like the bit where Lewis brings Robocop his stuff, and she's like, I brought you some food, and I brought you your gun, and it's huge.
Yeah.
When you see it with
Yeah,
like
it
a
doesn't
normal
fit.
person.
That's great.
It was interesting. I loved it. I thought it was good. It was very well paced as well.
Yeah, it's quick. It's really quick. It's a quick movie.
It goes fast.
Yeah, it's snappy, and its action scenes don't like linger too long. I find, and they're all very satisfying.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
part of that satisfaction goes towards the effects, because you don't get many gunshots. People just go, oh, and they fall over. You get the massive fucking squibs. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's so dramatic.
Yeah.
Even at
That's
the,
the whole
even
thing.
at the time, critics were saying that the special effects is like the best part of the movie.
But even then, like, it's definitely a selling point. But again, without it, I'd still enjoy the movie. Like, it all comes together perfectly.
Definitely. I agree.
Like, if the rest of the cast wasn't great, Peter Weller would carry it. If the effects weren't there, the rest of the film would carry it. All that sort of stuff. I think it's just a really satisfying movie overall.
Well, Roger Ebert, he in a review at the time, he said Robocop is a thriller with a difference when talking about the special effects and how much that makes a difference.
Well, we know how much Roger Ebert tends to hate these kinds of movies.
Exactly.
so-
Roger Ebert, it's very negative, isn't he? I'm not too well known on the whole film reviewer and like the hierarchy.
Yeah,
and
no,
all that.
a
He
lot of
gave it-
people.
He gave it a
Respect.
3 out of 4 stars, I think.
A lot of people respect and refer to Ebert a lot, and Siskel, but personally, I'm not a big fan of them. Probably because the horror fan in me just cringes at reference of them, given how they treated a lot of horror films of that time.
Is he not a fan of the slashers?
Yeah, no, you could say that. I mean, I wouldn't be so. I'm not going to be annoyed that someone has an opinion, but he went out of his way, especially Gene Siskel more than him, actually. I believe they doxed one of the producers of Silent Night, Deadly
Doxed?
Night. Yeah, on TV they showed her phone number or something like that and got people to call and harass her, and that's just shit. Just because they didn't like the movie.
This was Roger Ebert.
It was Siskel, I think, who did it. Who said it?
Siskel. I
But-
don't know who he is.
Is his partner really? He did a lot of reviews with Ebert back on their show.
Yikes.
But yeah, it's not good. I'm not a fan of them, honestly. Yeah. I respect what they did for film critics being well known. I'm just not a fan of them based on, the way they act towards certain films. It's a bit childish, I think.
They're a bit toxic.
Yeah.
Or the 80s interpretation of toxic.
Yeah. which
Is Roger Ebert, Jesus Christ. Is Roger Ebert like the Keemstar of the film world?
I
you
think
could
he
say
probably
that.
was.
You could say that.
And then he died.
Oh god. Yeah, well, that's what you get for doxing people.
I mean, pretty much. But I think
was both.
back talking about the
Yeah, go on.
film. While the film was really well liked at the time by reviewers, it didn't really. It wasn't. Was it? Did it immediately become like a massive success, or did it?
I feel like it's one of those movies where it was a success, but then it also became a cult classic at the same time.
Like instantly, or did it take a few years for it to really become well known?
I mean, it made money at the box office, and I assume it would have made money on video as well. But I feel like its appreciation has only gotten stronger over the years, even though it already had a following to begin with. Because obviously it was a success because they did 2 movies in a TV series. So
I think there's multiple TV series. There's
Yeah.
I'll get you all of the things that came after it.
Isn't there a cartoon?
There's
Evan, were you saying?
yeah, there's
I
2
don't think there's-
cartoons.
are there? Oh, is there? Okay, I didn't know that.
I think there was like cartoons and a toy line, which first of all makes no sense.
Because it's not a kids
Because
movie.
why would you sell a movie where like people get shot full of holes, do cocaine, have sex with hookers? Why would you sell that to children?
I think that's it's ironic too because the whole movie has a lot of satire towards like consumerism as well as office politics
definitely.
and all that.
It's definitely like fuck big pharma and all that.
Yeah, and the irony of that seemed to go over the heads of corporations.
I think so. I think there's 3 movies: RoboCop 1, 2, and 3. Then the remake in 2014, 2 live-action TV shows, and then 2 animated TV shows.
I haven't seen
Was
it.
Peter Weller in the TV shows?
No.
Interesting.
I haven't seen it. He was only in the second one, I think. And then I think he did a couple of voice roles, in like other stuff. I don't know if he did the cartoon.
Well, he
but
just came back recently to do the RoboCop in Mortal Kombat.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he did. I looked it up because I was curious.
okay.
I didn't think he came back because it sounds not like him at all.
Yeah, because when you said it to me, you said it sounded awful. So I would have thought they worked with someone else. But if he did it, I don't know what they've done then.
Similar for the guy who, on good side note, bit of a tangent, on Good Morning America, I think they had Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy on, and they were like doing a segment on the new show for Disney Plus, and the Kermit voice actor put no effort, little to none effort, to try and sound like Jim Henson and the other people before him, and he just kind of sounded. He just sounded like a normal dude. He was like, we're making a TV show. It wasn't as animated. Like, Kermit the Frog. He didn't put as much effort. And people were commenting. They were just like, this is a piss poor effort. And I don't know why there's such politics over Kermit the Frog, but it's definitely interesting to watch.
I couldn't comment. I have not
Yeah,
seen
I
it or
haven't seen
heard it.
any of them either.
Nah, I'm a big Kermit the Frog fan.
I've noticed.
Love the green guy.
I think you probably say that about most voice things, that as soon as it sounds a little bit off from people's nostalgia, they go, "This is wrong."
I don't like it.
Yeah, if it doesn't hit
Stop
if it doesn't hit the notes.
Doesn't tickle my nostalgia bone, then I don't want anything to do with it.
You're not a big fan of nostalgia, are you, Callum?
I have a mixed relationship with nostalgia, because I'll like watch something that from my childhood, and I'll be like I watched The Emperor's New Groove, a week ago,
good fan.
and I haven't watched it since I was maybe 9 or probably 8.
It's fantastic.
Well, it's great, and I had such good memories of it. But then I'm watching it, and I'm like, it's not as good as I remember. Like it's so quick. It's so fast paced. It's faster paced than RoboCop. It was like they're like going bang 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 bang. I think it's only like 97 minutes or something.
97. Because I was watching Corpse Bride recently, and I realized that movie only goes for an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm just sitting there like, Jesus, people paid to see that. Like it's so quick.
Well, it still counts as a feature. It's just not what we know as a feature. Because and to be fair, movies have gotten longer in general now. Because like back in the 80s, a proper feature was like what, 95 minutes? That's what most people expected.
Hour and a half.
Yeah,
hour and a half max.
78 minutes. Emperor's New Groove is.
Well, there you go. But yeah, like people expected that then, and anything more than that was a long movie. Which begs the question: how the fuck do people sit through Apocalypse Now back in the day in the cinemas?
How do people sit through The Godfather?
That too,
Part 2.
How long is The Godfather Part 2?
The Godfather Part 2 is about 2.5. No, like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's really slow.
The first one's 3, and then they go back, and it's like 2.5 hours.
Godfather
Part
Part 2 is 3 hours and 22 minutes.
Oh Jesus!
I think
it was good though.
I think in the case of like Apocalypse Now and what's another long movie, Scarface, that's got a lot happening in it, and you kind of don't notice the time frame. But with The Godfather, there's a lot of slow scenes, so I feel like you'd really feel that, because I know I felt that.
Interstellar as well. You probably feel it too, don't you?
I've not seen it.
Scarface is 2 hours and 50.
Yeah,
Ooh.
almost 3. Yeah, but yeah, what I was saying.
How long's Interstellar? Because I know that's incriminating.
Interstellar is 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh,
there you go. But yeah, like I was saying.
I mean, what would you rather watch, Al Pacino or Matthew McConaughey?
I'm probably a bit of more of an Al
sure.
Pacino guy myself.
Same.
You can't resist the Pacino.
It depends what McConaughey movie though, and depends what Pacino movie we're talking about.
You make a good point. Can I bring up McConaughey in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4? I think it was. Where he's off his fucking head.
You've brought this up before.
Yeah.
Is this the jumping on the car?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Where he's just an absolute madman. I take that back. Actually, I'd watch that any day over any Pacino performance, as much as I love Al.
Just that movie, or just that one scene?
That's a hard sell. The movie's not great. Maybe just that scene.
Are any of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres good? Except like the first one, probably because of that it's spawned so many like copies.
Look, the sequel, the first sequel, I adore. It's still same director, but I think he realized that he couldn't top how perfect the first one was, so he decided to go for a different angle with a lot of dark comedy, and I think it worked perfectly because
he flew Clutos to the sun as Icarus did.
Texas Chainsaw 2 is absolutely insane, and I think that's a good movie. It's a good party movie because every performance is insane. Bill Moseley, is fantastic as Chop Top, and Dennis Hopper, in his prime cocaine phase.
Which Texas Chainsaw is this?
The second one.
I haven't seen. I've only seen the original.
I haven't seen any of them.
The second one is worth it as well, alongside the original.
The original's great because you don't see a whole lot of like super gory bits. Like it's all
not
up
that
to your
graphic.
Imagination. Like, that I can't imagine. I can't even think about what's going on behind that closed door, and you just hear.
Yeah, it's all imagination. It's all the visuals, and I think as well the way it was shot on such a low budget in that Texas heat. You can feel the heat in that movie. In every scene.
It was only shot for 300,000. That's nothing.
Yes, it was insane. But I think part of that low budget and the way it was shot and the way it looks, it makes it kind of feel like a documentary in a way, or a snuff film even, and that really helps sell it. Because like, as okay as the remake was, you can tell it was made for a lot of money and doesn't have that same vibe that the original does.
Speaking of remakes and not having the same vibe, now you both have seen the Robocop remake. Let's bring it back to the topic.
I have it on DVD.
You have it on DVD?
Not on Blu-ray though.
So
I wouldn't waste my money on a Blu-ray of that, but a DVD I can live with.
So how does Joel Kinnaman's interpretation of Murphy compare to Peter
It's
Weller's?
different. It's a different like Robocop world, I guess, or because in the original he's like all he is like what, a brain and a face or something, and that's all that's
He's got a lot
in the remake. I thought.
well, that's all that's left of in the original, and then in the new one he's got like a brain, but then he still has like more personality, and he still wants to see his family and stuff. So like,
so his brain's kind of kept alive.
Yeah, Gary Oldman's just tinkering around with his brain.
More than Murphy.
Because Peter Weller's, what I remember was that he got like his leg, he's got his whole arm shot off, and then I think his upper thigh on his right leg was shot, and then he just got like blasted.
It's safe to assume that he just got annihilated.
He was shot in the chest many times by Salacious B. Crumb and Red Foreman.
I do know as well. What am I saying? Fucking, there was a line in the scene where he's being put back together.
In the remake or the new one?
In the original, I think what's his name? Bob. He says do away with his legs or something like that.
Oh, he goes like he's like, oh, we managed to save the left arm, and he goes, no, fuck the arm.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god.
What a strange thing. This man's just been shot to death, and he's just like, get rid of the arm.
Well, because they make the whole.
And she's
sorry, you go.
No, I was gonna say she's surprised at getting rid of one.
Well,
arm.
it's because the whole like how cold he is, because he's like, he's just a product.
This is the cocaine guy.
Yeah, this is the guy who's with the models.
Because I was gonna say I only know these characters by nickname. Like I don't actually pay attention to what they're really named.
I only know because I've seen the movie enough times. That's the only reason I know some of their names.
Just on the remake, the only part that I like about the remake is the bit where Robocop makes Gary Oldman show him what's left of him, and they take away all of the robot bits, and you just see like his lungs, his heart beating, and his face, and like his hand that's left.
That's cool.
Like that would really fuck you up.
Yeah. I gotta give respect to that.
That would kind of make you not want to put on a robot suit. And that would just kind of make you want to give up, essentially, wouldn't you?
Well, he starts crying, and he's like, I never want to see myself like this again. It's pretty. But that film does a good job at like, I guess, morality of what would.
It's very emotional.
Yeah. but it's still bad.
But
It hits
at the same time,
pathos.
at the same time, it lacks in almost every other way. I feel.
Oh yeah.
Cause like, honestly, I think a better RoboCop remake is Neil Blomkamp's Chappie. At that point.
Oh,
With Deantwood?
Was that like the South African one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deantwood. And was Sholto Copley in
Yeah,
that?
he
Sholto
was.
Copley
Am I
does the
thinking
voice of
something else?
Chappie.
Yeah, and then Dev Patel is the doctor, correct?
I don't recall Dev Patel in it.
Or is it another? I'm
I'll
sorry.
I'll look
I
it
wasn't-
up.
Probably. It's probably someone
I
else.
seem to remember Hugh Jackman being the villain, unless I was
Yeah, I
wrong,
remember that.
with his fucking mech.
Why do all bad guys get a mech?
Because
Like
it's
they
cool.
did in Avatar. They did it in Chappie.
It's cool.
All the bad guys get mechs.
He's the most Australian villain, Hugh Jackman in Chappie.
Because he's Australian.
But it's just great how much he hams it up.
Did they tell Hugh just act like you're home?
Yeah,
They probably do.
he's just like I
'Cause
think there's a bit at the end where Chappie is trying to get away, and Hugh Jackman unironically says the line. He's like, "You're like a Joey out of the cub."
I do like Chappie. It's not a great movie, but I like Chappie.
That's so
It's so bad, but it's so good.
I think it's just because Americans love Australia. Americans love what they think Australians are.
Oh yeah. The amount of times I've seen Americans just ask, "Cause like, do you have kangaroos there?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, in the outback." Like, I don't know.
Not on my street, not in my backyard.
Not on my street. Actually, no. Wasn't there? This is probably gonna date the show, but wasn't there a kangaroo that ran through some kid's school?
This
Was that on the news?
is a local reference.
This was a local Melbourne Australian special.
I don't
ladies and
recall.
gentlemen. I don't recall. You don't watch the news, do you?
Not often.
I mean,
no.
I grew up in the country, so we had kangaroos just in fields, and there's kangaroos who you'd wake up in the morning and they'd just be like sleeping outside of the house. We were going to school, and there was one in the hometown that I grew up in, and there was one that just we had to stop the bus because it was just bouncing across the road. Like they were everywhere. They were just like rodents.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, well, I am. I sort of like midway between suburbia and the country. I lived next door to a forest when I was younger, which is now a house, which sucks. But we had a lot of wildlife there. We had a fox and a kangaroo that used to sleep together next door.
That sounds like it sounds like a discount Disney film.
It does.
Like Fox and the Hound. It's like Kangaroo and the Hound. Oh wait, no, Kangaroo and the Fox. Shit.
But yeah, off topic, random side note going on about. You know what? We're not helping the Australian stereotype talking about
No,
fucking
no.
kangaroos.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Oh, we're talking about
We're
Australians.
talking about
in
Hugh
movies.
Jackman in Chappie.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Oh, my chair's squeaking.
I want Neil Blomkamp to do that RoboCop sequel that he was talking about doing.
Yeah, he wanted to do that, and he wanted to do an Aliens sequel in which they they pull a Halloween and they ignore all the other sequels past Aliens and just set it then.
So are they pulling away from Ridley Scott?
Well, I don't know if it's happening, but he wanted to do that. He wanted to do a sequel right after Aliens and ignore Alien 3 Resurrection.
I think it was happening, and then just it kind of did that whole thing where it just kind of faded into the void of the internet.
Obscurity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope it still happens. I don't know how they'd pull it off with Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn being a lot older, but
They could just do what they
I'd-
did in
I'd love-
Halloween.
that's
Where
true.
it's like, it's
Well, if-
been years now.
Or he just put them in cryo sleep and be like, oh, the cryo chamber didn't freeze you enough, or
They'll
some shit.
de-age them like they did in The Irishman, and Sigourney Weaver will just run like an
She'll look like an old lady.
Or
Yeah,
you could
just like Robert
or
De
you
Niro.
could de-age them for the start of the movie, and then make them get to safety, and then it can cut to like a few years later or many years later, and they're now old. Like you could
They
do,
could
that.
do that.
Like at the start of Terminator Genesis, how it was like, yes, Sarah Connor and John Connor got away. They're young, and then
Why don't they
she
just
died.
why
He
don't they just do it like Rocky film? Just end it as soon as Alien 1. Just start it like Alien 1 ended.
They could.
Just forget the sequels.
Look,
I've only seen Alien.
You haven't seen Aliens?
I have not seen Aliens.
Well,
But I've played enough laser tag to know the Bill Paxton line is like in every single game.
game over, man. Game over, man.
Game over, man.
Game over.
over. Yeah, exactly. That one's like every single game.
Well, in that case,
I'm like, fuck. They really haven't made themselves unique. Every laser tag place is essentially the same, isn't it?
look, you can't beat the fun of holding those pulse rifles and shooting aliens.
The Bendigo Zone has like this really cool laser tag place, and they've got like it's all wood and stuff, so because it's so super old. So like at the end of year 12 we did laser tag and we're all in our muck up day clothes, so we're all in our skirts and stuff. So we were just like running around in I think we're wearing all boots, like not military boots, like sexy boots.
Like stripper boots, like stilettos.
Not stilettos, but
oh, I was gonna say
just doing laser tag. So that was pretty fun.
I had a very tame muck up day.
So did I. I don't remember what I did to be. I did nothing actually on my muck up day.
Oh, I dressed up as Rocky, but I went in the training outfit, and it was fucking hot that day.
Oh no.
I sweated so badly.
Oh, there you go. You got the sweat. You're in the character. You got the costume right.
That I had to walk home with it. I had to walk home in like musky trackies.
Oh.
See, that's why we wore disgusting like dollar store costumes, because they were very airy, at least.
Because they're made of polyester and like nothing else.
Yeah, they were very thin. Also, to answer your question, Dave Patel was the scientist in Chappie. Yes.
Oh, he was.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
I have absolutely no memory of him. Actually, I haven't seen Chappie for a long time. I saw it when it came out on DVD, and I haven't seen it since.
We should do it
I
one
don't
week.
remember. We should also do Aliens
We'll
one
make
week,
an
seeing as
we'll do an
Seb
episode on Chappie.
hasn't seen it.
I want to do a future episode on another Bill Paxton movie. It's the live action Thunderbirds.
Oh no.
It had Ben Kingsley, Vanessa Hudgens when she was like a teenager.
Is that the
And that's it.
2004 movie?
Yeah, that those three are like the only notable people in it.
I've seen that movie twice when I was younger, and I have absolutely no memory of anything that happened
Yeah,
in
me
it.
neither.
I have seen
I don't
it so
remember
many
anything
times. It
from
makes
it.
no sense. The movie is so twisted. Anyway, back to
Yeah,
Robocop.
we really strayed very far from the topic.
We've gone from Australian accents to laser tag to Thunderbirds. Robocop. So how would you think, where would you place it in comparison to other films of the era? Because it was late 80s, so obviously they would have had maybe better releases, because I know Ghostbusters was 1984.
1984 was a great year
84?
for like film. For like iconic movies. 84 was great.
Oh yeah, 84 was a great year.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I find it hard to compare to other 80s movies because it's so different. There's not many other like 80s action satire sci-fi movies that have that sort of same tone that Robocop has.
Would you call Back to the Future satirical?
I wouldn't call it satirical. I think it's just a straight comedy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
But yeah, no, I don't know.
Because doesn't... Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go on.
Isn't Robocop like social commentary on masculinity or like the police force or
It
something?
does it on
wouldn't call it-
consumerism and the tensions of the
that's
Cold War at the time.
Yeah, consumerism, office politics, Cold War tensions, that kind of thing.
Like the board game called Nukem.
Yeah. That's it, Buster. No more military aid.
Oh yeah, that dad was very aggressive.
I like that a lot. That was fun.
It's like, out of all of them, the dad was the one who was most likely to just smash the board off the table.
I've had enough.
and just
I've
be
had
like,
enough.
I'm done. I'm sick of this.
I think I'm trying to think of other movies that have like satirical fake ads in them. Because I know there's some that I've seen that I like. I just can't recall them at the moment.
There's
but
games like all of the Grand Theft Auto games.
yeah, like Grand Theft Auto has great satire on just everything with that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, Rockstar does great work on like the satiric and the humor.
They do.
Satiric,
I feel
oh,
it's fine. I know what you mean. But yeah, I think that really on that note, I think that goes really unnoticed when people talk about the Grand Theft Auto games. I feel like the satire in everything just really sort of goes unnoticed. I don't hear people talk about it that much, you know?
I think because it's kind of, it's so unique, but it's also so stuck to that brand. So you know that it's not serious.
Yeah, but at the same time, like all I hear about, like whenever I hear anyone who doesn't play games talk about Grand Theft Auto, all I hear about is just it's that violent game, you know. It's stuck in that as well. I think.
It's because it's because of the strip club.
Yeah,
and all that. Everyone that's caused such a shit stir.
And the whole meme of killing the hookers after you use them, because like.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Callum, you'd know about that Family Guy episode.
Which one?
The what? that great. It helps me.
Oh, the one where
the
one where Peter
where Peter
and he
gets
plays
an Xbox.
so much Grand Theft Auto, he just kills a prostitute, and then just opens up her purse and just takes cash out of it.
But he was playing Call of Duty before. It doesn't. It's like, it's such a big jump. That Family Guy's another that has a lot of satire.
Yeah, it has a lot of like. It kind of like goes on tangents itself with its like jokes.
Oh yeah, sometimes they go too far.
Yeah.
They just like, alright, come on.
I haven't seen enough of it. I've only watched a couple episodes on TV. Like enough to know what
I
know what it's like. I know what the show's like, but
I'm pretty sure I've seen every
think...
single episode up to season 15 or something.
I've seen whatever they have on Stan.
I don't think it's a show where I could sit down and go, alright, I'm gonna binge all 15 seasons of it now. You know.
It's definitely something you put on like on the back in the background.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit down and be invested in watching it, like for however many seasons, you know.
I've got a note here on RoboCop. But back on the topic. You remember the first like scene where he goes and stops that guy from robbing that convenience store?
When he bends
the guy's gun.
He bends the gun.
When he punches homeless Lou Ferrigno.
Oh yeah, Lou Ferrigno.
But the guy's safe that's hidden under all those cans. That must be a pain to use. Like.
Oh yeah.
Like why wouldn't you put that anywhere else? Why would you? What if someone pulls out a can and it falls apart and goes, "Oh, there's a safe here."
Like you know kids. You know how kids run around
absolutely,
in like supermarkets and like shops all the time. And that's a cliche actually, like the kid knocking over all the cans.
But it happens. I've seen it.
Is it really? Is it a cliche where if it actually happens in real life a lot?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but that poor kid he just run into that safe.
he
break his
bonk.
Just B-O-N-K, bonk.
Yeah, that must be the biggest pain, having to like take all the cans off, open it up, try not to shake it too much so all the cans fall on the ground.
What if you knock a can off? Like clearly they'd be dented.
That's true. That is true.
How did Robocop? Here's a plot hole. How did he know to be there?
Because he just drives around.
How do you know that they were?
Lady
was he
pressed,
just driving past?
the lady pressed the
Oh
button.
yeah, she did.
She triggered the.
Did she?
The old lady triggered the silent alarm.
And don't you remember?
I've seen Robocop like 10 times.
And don't you remember when Lewis is trying to talk to him, he goes, "I have to go. Somewhere there is a crime
there's a crime happening."
I thought that's such a good line. Like, I just need to leave. You're annoying. Somewhere there's a crime. I don't know.
I love the scene where all the kids are following him, and they're like shaking his hand.
Do not touch me.
Stay out of trouble.
The reporter just asks him, "Mr. Robo, Mr. Cop, what are you doing to stop crime?" And he just waves the microphone in his face. He just looks at it.
No, he goes, "Oh, have you got anything to say to the kids at home?" And he just goes, "Stay out of trouble."
Peter Weller's text-to-speech filter was honestly probably my favorite part of the film.
I couldn't tell if he said his lines and they just added that filter onto his like actual voice, or if he redid his lines in post and they did
I feel like it was all ADR.
I can't tell.
I feel like it would have been.
Yeah,
probably ADR.
But it's good ADR because you can't. It syncs up well and it sounds like he's actually there. It doesn't sound like it's a recording.
Yeah. Speaking of good lines, let's talk about when the mayor was held hostage.
Don't jerk me off!
Don't jerk me off!
The guy says, "Don't jerk me off," because what happens when I jerk off? I come. Weird. First off, strange, scary, a bit confusing.
That scene was apparently based off a real case where a mayor, like an ex-mayor, held some people hostage because he wanted his job back.
Did he actually say that?
I probably not.
I like how that guy, I guess the guy who was talking to him over the microphone or over the speakerphone, he was just.
Oh, the guy that looked like Kramer.
He did look a bit like Kramer, but he was just Robocop's like, keep him talking. The guy's like, oh, I'll listen to you, giant robot man. Sure, whatever you say. Yeah. You just drove through this crime scene.
Especially when Robocop just drove.
To the tape.
And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Keep him talking." And he just goes, "All right, yeah, sure.
Whatever you say, robot man."
No worries, Robocop.
And then I love the bit where he just puts his arms through the wall and just tears it.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
They did a homage to that in I'm not sure if it was in the actual comic, but in Batman: The Dark Knight Returns in the animated movies, because Peter Weller does Batman.
Part 1 or part 2?
I think it's in part 2. I can't remember.
It's the better one.
No, part 1's better, in my opinion.
Which one had that mutant?
Part 1. But he just because Peter Weller is doing the voice of Batman and he does that, and I was like, oh,
does he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he fits Batman so well.
He's more old. Because he's old. He's like old
55,
old and a bit chubby.
On that note of Peter, actually, before I move on to Peter Weller in general, one more Robocop line I love: "Come quietly, or there will be trouble."
Oh, that pause, yes.
It's so good. But yeah, no, Peter Weller, I love him a lot. He's done a lot of voice stuff recently, and I think he's a history teacher now. He's a teacher of some kind now at some university in America. Which I just want to say, if anyone has him as a teacher, God bless you, because that's amazing. I would love to have Robocop as my lecturer.
Oh yeah, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
I think,
but yeah.
You go, sorry.
No, go on.
Well, he said that in an interview for Batman: Dark Knight Returns, he said that he doesn't really take hero roles anymore. He likes to just play like an average guy, or like someone who has to overcome something. So I think that's why he just does a lot of voiceover work these days.
That's fair.
That's interesting.
He recently was in, or not recently actually, in where is it? 2014. He was in a Skin Trade. I don't know if either of you guys have seen that.
That sounds
action
terrifying.
movie.
Have not.
It's got Dolph Lundgren and Tony Jaa in it. It's alright.
Oh god, Dolph Lundgren.
Look, don't knock Dolph. Dolph is great.
Nothing can change my perspective on Dolph. Every time I hear Dolph Lundgren, I think of the Always Sunny reference where it talks about how he hangs dong in Thundergun Express, the fake movie that they have in there. And also that one shot in Rocky 4 in the training room. You both know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
When he gets the steroids stuck into his arm and it pans up, and Dolph Lundgren is just like looking into the distance.
Stoic.
Just deadpan.
Stoic.
Yeah, just stoic, and he's very shiny.
Well, he's been working out.
I wonder what the fake sweat budget was for Rocky 4.
No, that's all real sweat. They made him work out. They're like, Dolph, we're not going to give you any fake sweat.
I mean, probably, because he's a massive dude.
Do you hear that story about how Sylvester Stallone actually wanted him to hit him? He was like, hey, come on, hit me, you can do it. And he puts him in the ICU for like 4 days. He hits him in the chest, and he puts him on like medical watch because he just like winded him so badly.
Just stops his heart.
Oh, jeez. He hated him apparently. Stallone hated Dolph Lundgren during his cocky era.
Yeah, like Stallone has done a big 180 from having that much of an ego. I really like him now. I've always liked him as an actor, but like now personally,
at the start he was kind of he was more calm
because he came from nowhere. He wasn't getting roles. His first role was in a porno. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, wasn't him
Italian Stallion?
Yeah, something in Kitty. It's like their party.
Yeah, something like that. I don't recall exactly, but yeah, he started from nothing in New York, and Joe Spinell helped him a lot. I don't know if you know Joe Spinell, but you would have seen him in something. He's in The Godfather. He's in Taxi Driver. He's in all sorts of movies. But yeah, Joe Spinell helped him get his major roles. I think he helped him in First Blood. I don't recall exactly how far their relationship went.
When was First Blood?
Was it 80? 79, 80?
Because Rocky was 75.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, it would have been Rocky then, not First Blood.
So Rocky was first, which is interesting. Side note, Rocky, I think 1 and 2 maybe had the same director as Karate Kid.
Did they?
Yes, which just it goes full circle because I just love Karate Kid as a franchise. Except the 4th one where they get like the little girl. I haven't seen that one.
I think we should do an episode on the 4th Karate Kid.
I'm not doing an episode on the 4th Karate Kid. I'll do an episode on Karate Kid 2 and 3, or both.
What about the Jaden Smith one?
Because they're such great films. They kept Martin Cove in the acting industry because I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff.
I'd argue that Steel Justice kept Martin Cove in the acting industry.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
You should. It's an amazing movie. He plays a Vietnam veteran. Again.
It's the director's David G. Adelson. I'll have to see. So someone can correct me.
What film is it?
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
For Rocky. But where were we? What were we talking about? Stallone. Yeah, Stallone definitely did a 180.
Yeah.
Like you were saying before, he's definitely become more respectable. More respectful, sorry, I should say.
Because he posts a lot to Instagram. I look his Instagram a lot, and he's always like, he's at premieres with his daughter for her movies. He's doing photos with Schwarzenegger and Lundgren. They're good mates now, all three of them.
Yeah, he's a good dad.
They play pranks on each other with on their birthdays and stuff.
Is he still
Can we talk about that prank? Sorry,
is he still like swole?
Yeah, he's big. He's still a big dude.
Can we talk about that prank? The acting war between Schwarzenegger and Stallone. about how Arnold Schwarzenegger was gonna do don't shoot.
Stop a man, my mum will shoot.
My mum's a cop or something.
Stop a man, my mum will shoot.
Yeah, stop a my mum will shoot. He was gonna do that role, and Stallone heard about it. so he auditioned for it, and then Schwarzenegger backed out. At the last minute, just to like make sure he lands it.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah, he's just like, thank you, buddy. Good luck.
I'm looking at
Hercules in New York. That is definitely also a movie we have to do an episode on.
Well, it's because it's a spicy meme right now.
It's a spicy meme. Shirtless Arnold running, which I will throw up on the screen. That whole meme is hilarious. I love it.
I don't know why all of a sudden it's become a meme, but I'm glad. I'm glad it has.
Well, we've just hit, by my count, 52 minutes and 50 seconds.
Me too.
Do you think it's time
Do we want to do
up?
final thoughts and stuff?
I think we should do final thoughts.
Sure.
Who wants to go first?
Evan?
I suppose I can go if you want. All right. I just want, as well, on my final thoughts, I want to mention the sequels. If you haven't seen Robocop 2, it's all right. Peter Weller's still in it, not Paul Verhoeven directing. It's still not as good, but it captures the spirit of the first. The only issue is that it kind of retcons the fact that he gained his humanity back at the end of the first one.
Small plot hole there.
Yeah. But aside from that, it's an alright sequel. The third one, if you could tolerate how kid-friendly it is decent as well. I don't want to knock it too much because I know a lot of studio meddling was involved. And Fred Decker, who wrote and I think directed it, is a man I respect very much. He's done quite a few good films. But yeah, overall, the first one is the one to go for if you haven't seen any of them, obviously. But yeah, I think it's a classic. I think it's a certified classic. I think it goes beyond a cult classic, in my opinion. Because, even if you haven't seen it, everyone sort of knows it, Yeah. They know what it's about. They know it's a satire. They know I'll buy that for $1 joke. That sort of thing.
Was that where that came from?
That is
yeah.
indeed.
I didn't know. That's news to me.
But yeah.
Are we giving them out of 10?
It's a bit cliche, don't you
We'll give it six. How many nostalgias out of 6?
6.
Is that our rating
out of
system?
6.
Out
Yep.
of 6. How many
6 melting a meals out of 10.
Is that your score?
No, I'd probably give it a 9.5 or a 10.
9.5 or a 10.
10.
9.5.
10
melting meals.
10 and 2 and 9's falling down the stairs out of 10.
Callum, what do you think?
I love it. I've always loved it. I'm looking at my Mafex Robocop action figure on my desk right now. I love it. I have the special edition steelbook that I got from Arrow, that Evan also has.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I don't have the steelbook. I got the
You got the
bigger
better
one.
one.
I got the
Maybe I'm not as big a
got the
fan as
limit-
you are then.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just a big fan.
But yeah, it's great. It's a great film. It's just fun. It's innocent and fun. Like everyone talks about how like they want films that are like thought provoking and like yeah, we do want that. But then sometimes you just want to switch your brain off and just have fun.
But even on that note, I think that like it's got a lot more to it than just a switch your brain off kind of film. It's got that subtext with it alongside everything else. But you know, you can just watch it for what it is, but you can also go, oh, this is really interesting to look at this angle as well.
Exactly.
Definitely.
I don't want to.
Callum, what are you giving it? What are you rating?
I give it 8 melted the goons out of 10.
Well, now it's up to me. So this was my first time watching it, and I just thought it was weird. It was good. I loved it. I'd probably buy it on Blu-ray. I wouldn't buy a steelbook, but I'd probably buy a nice. I'd probably look for a better printing for a nice cover. But I thought it was really good. I loved it. Kurtwood Smith, amazing. Peter Weller, amazing. The actor who plays Police Chief Officer Reed.
Oh, he's
we
so
mentioned him.
underrated, that guy.
Yeah.
He was giving everyone the stink eye.
He
Forget
gave
it,
his
yeah, that guy's
he
a
gave his
serious
wife
asshole.
the stink eye. Like she's sitting behind him, and she's just like she just looks up and he goes, "Just get me a damn coffee, woman." I was like, good old days.
Anyway, my rating, I give it. I'm gonna give it 8 foot up your ass Eric Foreman's out of 10.
And on that note,
I think it was pretty good.
before we wrap up entirely, for anyone who wants to buy it, it's not a hard movie to get, I suppose. But
Oh no.
if you want to go the extra mile, Arrow Video in the UK has recently done a nice steelbook
I
limited
can
edition.
vouch for that. You should
Yeah.
get that if you want any copy.
I think if you're interested in all the behind the scenes, if you're a big fan of it, that's definitely the one to go for. If the limited edition is out of print, they will do a standard edition that just has the regular case and all the same discs, but no like fancy box. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to go for if you want to really support that company who does good releases and support the film overall.
Okay, well, thank you for listening.
Do we want to
please
plug
listen to this.
plug ourselves? Is that a thing?
Do we want to plug ourselves?
Where can everyone find all of us?
Okay. Well, let me pull up our Instagram because we actually have an Instagram page, everyone. So follow. Let me pull it up because I forgot the name of our own show.
Great plug.
Follow Rental Rewind. Rewind. Follow Rewind Rental Podcast on Instagram. All our Instagrams is Callum.mp4
And
for
Twitter, Callum
mine-
_mp4 on Twitter.
on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know if we're doing
I have it.
whatever. My Instagram is Seb_Portelli. And at Grindhouse_Blues for Evan. You'll see it on the bio. I don't know why I needed to read it out.
You can tell it's our first
Right.
time, can't you?
Definitely. This is a new experience.
For sure.
Also, shout out to the ABC, Deborah Mailman and all that saying not to start a podcast. Fitzy,
Yes.
you know, they said not to, but you know, we'll do it anyway.
We took that as a good omen to go ahead
We
and
took
do
that
it.
as a challenge.
Challenge
Yeah.
accepted.
Challenge accepted, ABC. We're
All right,
coming
well,
for you. Watch out.
Thank you for listening. We'll have to wrap that up because this is going to be a bitch to edit. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.